Any other questions? You have one more?
Oh.
You have a little list there. You have a little list there, and everyone's counting on you.
Well, I've got as many follow-up questions as we go on the field.
Okay. Ben, how much time do we have?
We've got about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Well, do you have time for?
I have time for one more, sure.
You know what? I guess I don't have a specific question for you. I'm guessing what you say that you've only been involved in politics for like 5 or 6 years. That makes me happy because you seem like you'd probably be open to more information.
Yeah.
Like if you found out that a lot of this information that you're receiving from most of the all media sources, can we say?
Yeah.
You know, supposedly conservative media sources,
Sure.
but they all agree on the one thing. This is not going to be a secret. I'm a Ron Paul supporter. I understand foreign policy. I understand what's going on over there, and I see a pattern. And the pattern is we say that this place is a threat, so the United Nations says we don't like this, so our country, our military, our men and women going on behalf of the United Nations.
And that should not be happening.
And that's, so I guess, are you aware of what a horrible entity the United Nations is? Or would you be open to some information on that?
Oh, no. Let me, and I thank you for that question. Let me make it very clear where I stand on several things, including our national sovereignty. Yes, we should never, ever, in my opinion, put our soldiers at risk for the United Nations. Never.
And you've been doing it for 50 years.
Yes, we have, and it's inappropriate. So I would never vote, ever vote, to support going to war because the United Nations thinks it's a good idea, ever. And I'm probably the only politician, now that I know kind of where you're coming from, I'm probably the only candidate that you're going to talk to that is aware of what took place in 1946 and 47 over in the Middle East with the United States. I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of what happens, and that's why I'm very strict about the fact that we need constitutional wars if we're going to go to war. If we're going to put our men and women at risk, they must be constitutional wars, and that's important to me. But we have our own problems internally. You know, we have issues such as the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is probably one of the biggest threats to our national sovereignty that you could list today. The reason our economy is so bad right now is in large part due to the Federal Reserve and the structure that they have set up. And to know that they've never been audited is highly inappropriate. One of the first things I would do after the balanced budget amendment, and you don't have to do them, you can do them at the same time, would be to sign on and co-sponsor a audit of the Federal Reserve. And ultimately, it would be nice to get away from that system of monetary funding, because we did it for decades, centuries in this country, and we can go back. And I think so. I don't know if that answered your question, but
that's great news.
Great.
Actually, that's great.
Wonderful.
I have one question. I'm tired of the entitlements. There's no way, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
That's right.
When you take something from somebody or give something to somebody, you're taking from somebody else. And most often that comes from the people that are working. We're working hard. My husband supported 9 children and myself on 3 jobs. So, and now he's to the point, because of circumstances with our economy, that he's having to go back at the age of 65 because all his money's gone. It's been spent. Just like the federal government has spent our Social Security.
That's right.
I'm tired of paying for people who will not take care of themselves. And it's not that I don't have compassion for those that can't take care of themselves. I want some deep cut. I want people to be responsible. I want agency back. I want when somebody makes a choice, they have to be responsible for the consequence of the choice.
I completely agree. Completely agree. And let me tell you something. That is, you're absolutely right. And the entitlement mentality that we have in this nation is hurting this country. People expect something for nothing. Now, I'm not saying all people, but we're getting to the point where a lot of people expect something for nothing, and they expect a handout. I completely agree.
Well, that's why Europe is in the situation it's in.
That's exactly right. And all it is, it's a continual move towards the socialization of our country. And you have my commitment that I will fight that. I have fought it here. Now, let me end with this, just by saying this. Boy, we barely scratched the surface today. I'd like to talk more about things, immigration policy, just different things. We have another meeting we have to get to, but let me say this. I get asked a lot, how do we know that what you're saying is the truth? How do we know that you're going to keep your commitments? And what I always tell people is you don't really have to take my word for it. That's the one good thing about me as a candidate. You don't have to take my word for it because I have a voting history. For the last 5 years, I've consistently been the most constitutionally minded conservative in the legislature. I am one of 2 people who has never voted for a tax increase. I committed I wouldn't, and I haven't. I continually and consistently vote against regulation, more government regulation, more governmental intrusion into your individual lives and freedom. I have a voting history that shows that. I've stood up when leadership and when the good old boys were trying to strong-arm people to vote a certain way. I have stood up. I have stood up courageously. Sometimes I've stood up by myself. And it's not a very comfortable thing to be involved in, to stand by yourself. But I've done it. And you have my commitment that if you send me to Congress, you will absolutely see the same steadfast commitment to standing on firm constitutional principles and standing, if I have to stand alone, I will stand alone because I know that you're behind me. And that is what gives me strength. It wasn't that long ago that my grandmother died. She was in her 90s. And we were very, very close. And I look back at her life, and she was part of that greatest generation. I look back on her life and I think, you know, she was able to go to her grave knowing that she left this country better than she found it. That her generation left this nation better than they found it. When we're in the twilight of our life, will we be able to look back and say, we left this nation better than we found it? And I think for the first time in a long time, that is in doubt. Can I tell you that's what drives me? That's what wakes me up in the morning. It's why I'm running for Congress. I never want to have to look at my kids when I'm older and tell them that I didn't do everything I could to preserve the blessings of liberty to them and to their posterity. Now, I want to ask you one thing. I want to ask for your help. Right now, we are ahead in this race. Polling data just came out. We didn't do it, but polling data came out, and we are ahead. And we're moving along. And I think part of the reason we're ahead is because of people like you. We are meeting in homes like this all the time, just talking about issues. And we're building support at the grassroots level because really, this is your campaign. I want to make this the people's election. This isn't about me. It's not about the other people running. This is about you. I need your help. I have some sign-up sheets, and maybe I'll pass them around. I need help in just about every way. Cammie's been wonderful in helping and volunteering. She makes phone calls for us and invites people and helps organize meetings. We need a dozen Cammies, although there isn't a dozen like you. But we need other people engaged in this cause. There is a strong movement to make sure that I'm not elected. A strong movement by the mainstream good old boys club. And you'll see that come out more and more. That's why I'm making this about you, the people, because you're the one that matters. And if we are going to preserve the blessings of liberty to our posterity, we have to work together. So I'll pass these around here. Send one this way, here's a pen. And it doesn't take much. Just, here, I'll start one over here. Whatever you're willing to do, even if you're just willing to get on our email list. Let me end by telling you about your parting gift for coming. This is an essay that was written many years ago by Ezra Taft Benson. Ezra Taft Benson, when he was in the head of the Department of Agriculture back in Washington, D.C., he was asked a lot of times, said, well, what is the proper role of government? And he decided that he was going to put his thoughts into a little essay. And in this little 36-page essay, he sums up what I believe the proper role of government is and what he believes the proper role of government is. This essay changed my political perspective completely. It changed who I was as a representative, and I think I've shown that in my voting record and what I've led on in the legislature. And so I got permission from the Benson family it's copywritten, but you can find it all over the internet, but I got permission to print them off, and so it's now my gift to you, and I hope you take one and read it and share it with others as well. But I want to thank you. Is there any other questions before? I want to thank you so much for being here, and I want to thank Cammie, my husband. Thank you so much for opening your home. My cell phone number, can I borrow this? My cell phone number is on this, down here at the bottom. That goes directly to me. That's not an assistant, that's no one else, that's me. I want to hear from you. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you just want to talk for a second, please call me. If I'm running to be your representative, I want to be in touch with you. And I want to know what is important to you. I want to know the things and issues that are important to you. And so please, that's my personal cell phone number, and it's for you to use. So use it as you see fit. So thank you very much. And I'll stick around. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Sir?
So who's your favorite food storage company?
My favorite?
That would be Scott.
I guess food storage chef, you know.
I met you a bunch of times over there.
Oh, is that right?
I talked to you like 5 or 6 times when you're in office over there.
Oh, okay.
I do stuff with Scott.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Yeah, I was gonna say, well, I think they're my favorite. But I've never bought anything from them. I've gotten some free samples here and there. I got
office space?
I got stacked of free samples in office space. That's right.
Do you think there's anything that can be done about the budding of hemp? I mean, it seems like Congress accomplishes nothing just because
Yes, I do.
there's this constant, no one's willing to give or compromise.
If people would care more about the country than showboating and the next election, that's right. They care more about
On both sides.
That's right. They care more about their own elections than they do what they're doing to the country. And that's an appropriate choice. I am very staunchly conservative, but I'm able to work with people. You don't get an Obamacare opt-out bill passed. You don't get a constitutional amendment prohibiting, lighting the labor unions without working with other people. And so you have to work with other people. I think what they're doing in Washington, D.C. is worse than what they do in Hollywood, because they get in front of the camera and they talk a good game and then they do nothing. It's wrong.
Well, us are hurting.
That's right. That's right.
And that's the key right there, that's my biggest thing. I don't want special consideration, I want the nation taken care of. I've seen what has happened in communities where the government comes in and says, we'll take care of it. I've seen Indian reservations and what happens to people when they have no respect